I think that, I watched it back and you just look at how it was set up on that. They got Morgan Moses out on that play, and Garrett had a really good block, and they got Tippmann down the field, although they didn't really even need Tippmann to get down the field. Moses just erased somebody like 20 yards down the field. Garrett kind of cracked in, and Ruckert was out in front. It was set up so good that the Jets had Tippmann and Ruckert not even having to block anyone in front of Corley, just Moses. Moses just erasing somebody down the field. That's how well it was set up, because it drives me nuts. They did this really well against Buffalo. I feel like they don't do it any other game. They ran okay against New England, but then they got away from it. Brees is such a threat that you need to create misdirection with Brees, because the way teams bite on it leaves so much spacing in the field. I remember one play they had against Buffalo. They had Conklin motion over, and I think they used Brees to create the misdirection, and Rodgers just dropped back and threw like a quick hitter to Garrett, and they love having Moses get down the field as the lead blocker because he's great at it, despite having one working leg at the moment, by the way. And that play with Garrett got them 15 yards on a first and 10, I think. And they don't do it enough. And every time they do it, it works. It's tremendous. So it was a great call by Downing. I'm not saying this just to be like that guy. I miss things all the time, especially when we're in our screening room at SNY. I thought he dropped it like live when everybody was celebrating, and I was like, I think he dropped the ball, and then nothing was happening, and I'm like, okay, you got to realize I am baked in at the point where I think the worst of every Jets play. Like whenever they have a big play that's interesting,
you're waiting for the flag. Yeah,
I'm waiting for the flag. Yeah, I'm waiting for something. Every single time. It's horrible. Not like if they score a normal touchdown, but whenever they do something weird, I always am waiting for the other shoe to drop. And then when I saw it challenged, they showed one replay, and I'm like, it wasn't even close. Yeah. It wasn't even close. He dropped that ball almost at the 2-yard line. So
it's just unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. You want to you have no like actual angry emotion, because the Jets season it was the season from hell. It felt like up to that point. And Corley is letting out a lot of frustration on that play, but it's truly insane. I never understand this anyway, why guys drop the ball before the goal line or even near the goal line. Like it doesn't look cool, right? So the cool factor is out the window. 2, there's no reward. There's only the highest of risk. The highest of risk. So I never understood why that's the thing. Like if you try to do a backflip in the end zone and you land on your back and fumble the ball, it's like you tried to look cool. This does not look cool. So it's a terrible play. And I'm sure it had a lot of guys that did a lot of great things on that drive. Really frustrating. Rodgers in the postgame on Thursday Night Football said, I'm counting this as us scoring 28 points. So he was annoyed. Yeah. But you got to keep him involved. He's a really interesting player with the ball in his hands. He made a mistake. It happens. Young players make mistakes. He'll never do that again. And you won the game, right? It didn't lose you the game.
Always better to learn in a win than a loss.
Always better to take away from your mistakes in a win. So, yeah, I was sitting there, though, and I was like, man, like, my fear wasn't for Corley, because it's Corley. His impact on the game is going to be low anyway. My fear was that the team would have taken it as a punch to the gut and said, it doesn't matter what we do. We just can't do anything right. And to their credit, they came out in the second half, and they didn't have that attitude, finally. So I thought it was a really good response. I hope they go back to that play. I hope they find ways to get... here's the crazy thing. He didn't fumble.
Yeah.
He didn't he didn't tip a pass up and it led to an interception. He made a stupid, dumb mistake that was not even a real football mistake. So you got to keep going back to him, and you got to get him involved. And you know what? They survived it.
Few tidbits before we wrap and go over to War Room. One, I want to shout out Morgan Moses, who's been playing through a grade 2 MCL sprain and sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber every night, and has really brought something the Jets' offensive line is needed forever. And it's such a difference when he's out there from a physicality standpoint. It just trickles down to the whole unit. He was the guy who apparently said something at halftime in this game to Rodgers, and really is a veteran leader that they
I would extend him now.
Yeah, this is the kind of guy they've needed for a while. Why they ever got rid of him in the first place is another Joe Douglas mistake. I don't know. I think the Jets signed a guard to their practice squad today, so maybe Joe Douglas is still working somewhere. Nobody knows. But keep him around because they need that badly on their offensive line, and he makes a huge difference when he's out there. Jalen Mills on defense has kind of been the best safety the Jets have had over the past 2 years. I know it's a small sample size, but fits really well. And he cannot go to the bench when people start coming back healthy, certainly for someone like Ashton Davis. So keep him out there. That's been really encouraging to see. And I think even from what you saw in that limited Corley run, put him at kick returner. Like I think they're worried about him catching punts, which I get. Catching punts is a different art form and it's dangerous. And Gibson looks so out of confidence that he is fair catching balls. He shouldn't, to the point of parity.
He's lost.
And then when he does catch, he looks like completely lost. It's only a matter of time. I hope we don't have to clip this out in 2 weeks. He will fumble a punt.
He'll cost them. He will potentially cost them a game.
Yeah, there's no doubt he's going to fumble a punt at some point in the next few weeks. His confidence is fried back there. I know he has one decent punt return every 6 weeks, but I don't know. I wouldn't put Corley back there because I don't think they're confident with him catching punts. That's not his thing, but find someone else who could just fair catch the ball or go get somebody else who could be a normal punt returner. But on kick return, especially with the new rules, it's a perfect spot to give Corley a couple opportunities and keep him in the mix. I was actually tweeting back and forth with one of my favorite players ever, a friend of the pod, Quincy Anua, about this, that prior to this game, the Jets were doing this Irv Charles Corley package where they would come in and they would block 100% of the time. And what Anua said, and he used to play a role similar to this, is it's usually setting something up and you want to reward the guy for doing all the dirty work. That was the reverse. How do you sort of expand the package out to throw him a couple passes and get the ball in his hands? We're not going to have Allen Lazard for what I would guess is a while now, right? He's on short-term IR. He has a funky chest injury, which never sounds good. So that's why I don't expect Mike Williams won't be traded unless they're doing it as we're recording this podcast. And you'll have an opportunity to get more, Corley targets. There's only going to be so much to go around with Garrett and Devontae going like this and them doing a better job of integrating Braylon Allen with Brees. But there's targets and reps for Corley and Mike Williams now. You don't need to bother with Gibson on offense. He doesn't bring anything there at all. Please, God, don't waste any reps on Irv Charles on offense. Why he is still allowed to be on the team with the killer penalty every week is that's on Brant Boyer, who just needs to go at this point. Unfortunately, it's just time. They need a new voice. And when you keep a guy who makes the same stupid mistakes every single week, it's just bad coaching. It's not on Charles. He's allowed to play like that. And again, that will kill the Jets in a close game. They got away with two in this game, the one on Watts and the one on Charles. They were able to get away with that because Houston missed a field goal and the game wasn't close enough. But those are the things that they should have won this. This game they played a C+. They should have won this game by 25, and they made so many dumb mistakes that they couldn't. When they're playing a better team or a team who Houston's a good team, they just didn't have it that night. They're banged up. They're adjusting to the short week. You just can't do it. And I hope they make some of those tweaks over the mini bye where put Corley deep on returner. I would not have Charles out there anymore. They will, but do something where he's going to get less penalties. And, hopefully they could clean up some of these bonehead mistakes, because if they can, they have a chance. They have a chance here. So any final thoughts, CR, before we head over?
I echo your special teams thoughts. I mean, making contact with the long snapper is the ABCs of special teams. You gotta know you can't do that. And I know everybody's sitting there at home it actually led to a missed field goal instead. But I think
that's how you knew it was the Jets' night when that happened, and that they doinked in the other PAT with Patterson.
Yeah.
That's how you knew.
You knew the Jets finally had some luck on their side. A couple things for me. Irv Charles. I don't know. It's weird. What's funny with the Jets is, and it's funny in a way where it makes you want to literally I don't know what to even say at this point, eat toothpaste. It's funny in a way that they have the most volatile players on special teams. Gibson, it looks like he's either going to muff a punt or he's going to have a 30-yard return. There's no in between. There's no catch the punt, make someone miss 10 yards. Then Charles will either blow someone up or he'll wait for a ball at the 1 and it bounces through his hands, or he commits one of the most mind-blowing penalties, considering a guy's job is only special teams.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that how long they try to Greg the leg out, they really just, you never want, special teams, you don't really want risk. That's kind of my take. You want high upside. You want athletes at special teams. You're on 100 miles an hour. It's physical. But the risk the Jets take, it doesn't even make sense, honestly. So, and Corley should be returning kicks. I fully agree, because you need somebody in this kickoff format that runs through contact. Back to your point about the offense, Gibson played 8 snaps on offense. I have no idea why. He's just out there either running cardio, and he can't block.
Yeah.
Corley played 6. I would just give all 8 of Gibson's to Corley. Yaboa played 4 snaps on offense, had a really key catch for a convert. I love Yaboa.
Unbelievable. Our guy.
Clearly they all do too.
Yeah, not going anywhere.
Yeah, because he's athletic. He could do a lot of different things from the backfield or off scrimmage or on the line of scrimmage. Yeah, I think that, to Morgan Moses, he's the kind of player that the Jets just need more of in this really bad era. You listen to him talk, and he's so thoughtful, and you understand why he's probably the most respected guy in the entire organization, it feels like, by every other player and coach. And you talk about being a warrior. Like, this guy plays through a significant injury every single year, and he's still a good player. He's still out there playing good football. So I know he's 34, but I would love to see if he'd stay on for another year of, however many guaranteed millions of dollars and go in next year with him as your right tackle, Lolu as your left tackle. Morgan Moses has obviously been great for the young guys. And it's just good to see the Jets young players having fun again, because it's not really been a fun season for them. Garrett's been really good lately, and Garrett's going to have a big year down the stretch here. Sauce's confidence is so shot. It's affecting his technique. He's overthinking everything.
Yeah.
I hope that he can kind of gain his confidence back again, even if it takes a tipped pass falling into his hands or something. His confidence has been so shot since the Vikings game where he was flagged a couple of times, and they're going to really need him. They're going to really need Sauce Gardner to be a number 1 corner again, because the Jets got to, play as a team effort to kind of close out some of these plucky, feisty Cardinals kind of teams that, if you don't show up ready to roll, you'll lose. Like, you might overlook them, but you will lose. So, the bottom line is they got to stretch together more wins here, and they really, with this way the schedule turns, the opportunity is there, but you just don't know what New York Jets you're going to get on any given day, and that's the most frustrating part about this team.
It's a true crapshoot game going into Sunday. It's a weird matchup. They play the Cardinals once every 4 years. The Cardinals are a surprising 5-4, sort of an unconventional 5-4 with how they've won some of their games, and we'll see. It's why that line will probably settle like right at a pick 'em. It's a hard one to figure out what version of the Jets we're going to get. We shall talk about it more over on War Room. We will have plenty of pregame content all the way up through finally a little 4 p.m. kickoff for the first time this year, which will be nice on Sunday. A little Fox game for the Jets. Thank everyone for listening. Check back in tomorrow, and we will talk to you soon.